Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going through my tiered quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end rankings for Week 8. Please keep in mind that players who are on bye are not going to be included in these rankings, so if your guy doesn't play this week, that's why he's not included in these rankings. Another thing is players who played on Thursday night are also not included in these rankings, so if you notice they're missing from here, that's why. So without further ado, in the elite tier, I have Mahomes, Allen, and Baker Mayfield this week. I want to mention Baker Mayfield. He did have a big time struggle against Detroit this past week. This is an absolute get right matchup against New Orleans. I think he's going to crush it this week. And I once again like these skill position players for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. In the next tier, we have Bo Nix, Drake May, and Dak Prescott. Bo Nix went ballistic this past week. With Dallas, Trayvon Diggs was just put on IR. This is a smash pot because obviously the Dallas offense is still awesome. So this projects to be a very high scoring game, at least potentially. In the next year, we have Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart, Jalen Hurts, and Daniel Jones. With Jalen Hurts, I want to mention that yes, AJ Brown is out. They still have Devontae Smith. They still have Dallas Goedert. They still have Saquon Barkley. I think we see a little bit more action from him on the ground. But as we all know, his rushing floor is one of the best in fantasy. Locked and loaded QB1 in my opinion. And the next year, we have Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Marcus Mariota, and Justin Fields. I want to mention Aaron Rodgers here. This is a revenge game against Green Bay. I think that if there was ever a game in which he had motivation after the Jets game earlier, this is it. So I personally would be starting Aaron Rodgers with confidence, unless you're in a 1 QB and you have one of these guys above him. But in a super flex and you have him, I probably am starting him unless once again you happen to have 2 of the guys ahead of him, sure. In the next tier though, we have CJ Stroud, Spencer Rattler, and Mac Jones. With Spencer Rattler, I think that this is also a matchup that he can exploit. I think he sees a ton of passing volume as they try to keep up with Tampa Bay. And I really like Chris Olave this week. And I think Juwan Johnson's a solid start as well. And then the final tier, we have Cousins, Tua, Andy Dalton, Dylan Gabriel, Snoop Huntley, and Cam Ward. With Cam Ward, he has not finished inside the top 20 in any individual week. I think he is, in general, the worst weekly start that you can have. Please avoid him. Taking a look at the elite tier of running backs, I have Bijan, JT, and McCaffrey. I think these guys are locked and loaded elite RB1s, and 2 out of 3 of them have dream matchups. And the next tier, we have Achane, Jacobs, Cook, and Henry. I think that Henry gets back going with another rushing touchdown this week. It's been a minute since he scored one. He did have over 100 yards this past week. I think they feed him quite a bit with Lamar Jackson out. And I think they have a decent amount of success on the ground, but through the air. Now, in terms of the next tier, we have Scatterboo, White, Barkley, Williams, and Judkins. With Rachaad White, really the entirety of the Buccaneers offense was terrible this past week against Detroit. I think that this is a bounce back matchup for him. We still have Bucky Irving out. I think he gets most of the work and a lot of work in the passing game. In the next tier, we have Swift, Dobbins, Hall, Warren, and Kamara. With Kamara, I think Devin Neal is going to see a little bit more work than he has been with Kendre Miller out on IR. But I still think that Kamara is going to get most of the work, and I think that he is by far the most talented back there, even at an advanced age. On the next tier, we have Marks, Brown, Dowdle, and Stevenson. With Woody Marks, there's rumors that he is starting to take over the backfield. I will say that in the negative script that they had this past week, he was in a significant amount of the game, and he did catch the touchdown at the end. I think he's great in the receiving game. I think that he is a talented runner. It's just their offensive line is so bad. But, I do think that he is a solid start this week, and I do think that he is going to get the work to be, a low-end RB2 type, but there's a lot of ceiling there if he happens to be able to break a long run for a touchdown, for instance. Then in the next tier, we have Harvey, Davis, Pollard, Brashard Smith, and JCM. With Brashard Smith, similar to Woody Marks, I think he's starting to see more work, starting to take over a little bit more of the backfield work, and he's fantastic in the receiving game, just like Woody Marks is. In the next tier, we have Pacheco, Chubb, Hubbard, Algier, and Pirine. With Algier, he is questionable. I do want to mention that. I think, though, if he plays, this is once again a dream matchup. So if he plays, I think he is a solid flex type of player who has a good chance of scoring a touchdown this week against what is an absolutely abysmal Miami Dolphins run defense. In the final tier, I have Spears, Monangai, Davis, Neal, and Justice Hill. With Monangai, we saw that he was able to get about, I believe it was 13 carries on the ground this past week. He was very efficient and did score a touchdown. I do think that he starts to earn a little bit of a David Montgomery-like role in this Ben Johnson offense with, DeAndre Swift being kind of a poor man's Gibbs, in my opinion. But if he can cling on to Montgomery-like usage and the offense can start or can continue rolling on the ground like they did this past week, I do think that he could potentially start being a low-end RB2 option weekly. But I do want to see a little bit more consistency before crowning him, in that Montgomery type of vein. And I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you to Big Hunt, SP, Mage Jack, Infamy MTG, AOYOB, and The Dawn. Without your support, this would not be possible. As you're probably well aware if you've been watching my videos for a while, I cannot get monetized because of the film breakdowns I do and even just the little videos I have where I have clips of plays in them. They get demonetized every single time, making it, therefore, impossible to collect any revenue. So, obviously, your support is greatly appreciated. And if you are so inclined to become a member, the perks would be you will get access to a private Discord where we have both a real life and fantasy football chat, as well as a voice chat if you just don't want to have to type a bunch of stuff. I'll also give you detailed roster breakdowns and roster reviews where we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of your team. Then we kind of break it down further by looking into the scoring settings themselves and the starting lineup requirements to help you build the best team to help you dominate for years to come. In both Dynasty and then in Redraft, obviously, I'd help you with a good, solid game plan, especially if you know where you're drafting from. Then also give you detailed trade advice based on your specific league settings to help you dominate. Also give you access to private live streams and the ability to not only see videos at least one day early, but also the ability to suggest videos that you would like to be created. So if you would like to support the channel, I would really appreciate it. If not, just please like and subscribe. Let's get back to the video. Moving on to the wide receivers. In the elite tier, we have Rice, Chase, Lamb, Magbuka, and Odunze. With Odunze, I want to mention that Baltimore runs a significant amount of man coverage. Rome Odunze is great against man coverage. I think Caleb Williams manipulates that, gets Odunze the ball quite a bit, and I think he feasts this week. In the next year, we have Smith, Pittman, Sutton, London, and Olave. Two players I want to mention. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown is out. I think he sees significant target volume. It's a plus matchup. I think he crushes it. And with Drake London, it's a tough matchup. And he has Kirk Cousins now, but I think he sees so much volume that while I don't think he's going to be remarkably efficient with said volume, I think he's going to put up numbers because of it. And the next tier, we have Diggs, Samuel Metcalf, Robinson, McMillan, and Higgins. Two players I want to mention, DK Metcalf. This is Rodgers' revenge game against Green Bay. I think he's going to score a touchdown this week. I like that. And then with Wan'Dale Robinson, he's been sneaky good the last 2 weeks. I think he's going to see, I think he's going to continue to get peppered with those short area targets and then the occasional deep shot as well. Jackson Darts looked pretty solid. So I think he is a very good bet this week. The next year we have Worthy, Pickens, Downs, and Johnson. Josh Downs is returning from injury. With Tez Johnson, though, I think he has the opportunity to step up as the wide receiver 2 in this offense. I like him quite a bit this week. It's a plus matchup. He's been explosive, and I really liked him as a prospect. And he just didn't run a fast 40, and he's small. What are you going to do? The next year, we have McLaurin, Flowers, Waddle, Moore, and Juwan Jennings. With Terry McLaurin, I'm a little bit lower on him this week than I might be most weeks because Jaden Daniels is out, and Daniels has such a pretty deep ball. But I still think that, I think they're going to have to throw the ball quite a bit. I don't think they're going to be beating Kansas City. So I think through sheer volume that he's a solid wide receiver 2 this week. In the next tier, we have Golden, Knoll, Shakir, Dobbs, and Slayton. I want to mention Knoll here. I think I would prefer him out of the Texans wide receivers this week with Nico Collins out. Very tough to say, though. It could go quite a few different ways, but I did like Knoll more as a prospect than Jaden Higgins coming out. In the next tier, we have Higgins, Franklin, Boutte, Pierce, Aminer, and Lazard. I want to mention Allen Lazard. With Reynolds out, I think he's probably the best bet in terms of if you have to start a wide receiver for the Jets. I think he's probably going to get enough volume to be, low-end wide receiver 3 flex type of play. But if you have to start 3 receivers, hopefully you have 3 guys that are above him in these rankings. But if not, I think it's a solid desperation play because they should be losing by quite a bit. We just got to hope Justin Fields doesn't, end up with negative net passing yards when you have the sacks included in there, right? And finally, we have the tight ends. In the elite tier, I have Warren and Kraft. With Kraft, I think this is a smash spot. I do think he scores a touchdown as well. In the next tier, though, I have Kittle, Kelsey, Ferguson, and Goddard. And I want to talk George Kittle. So he's coming off a 2-target, 0-reception game. Obviously, that's horrible. He has shown us time and time again, though, in the past that he is an elite tight end option and one of the most talented tight ends in the NFL, if not the most talented tight end for a minute. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, even in a tough matchup. I think he's still a great option. But if he continues to just not be able to produce for us, if he just doesn't look like the same guy, then he's obviously going to be lowered in these rankings. But I still think he's got to be one of the most talented tight ends. In the next tier, I have Fannin, Schultz, Otten, Ingram, and Kincaid. I think every one of these guys is also in a position where they could potentially smash this week. With Dalton Kincaid, he is questionable, but he is coming off the last time he played a 100-yard game. I think he is a solid bet against a vulnerable Carolina defense. And the next year, I have Pitts, Ertz, and Njoku and Henry. With Kyle Pitts, I like him a little bit less than I initially did once Penix was ruled out. I think that kind of just lowers the floor and ceiling, but I still think in what is a fantastic matchup that he is a solid start as a low-end tight end 1. In the next year, I have Juwan Johnson, Mason Taylor, Jonnu Smith, and Theo Johnson. I want to mention Theo Johnson. He has been surviving off quite a bit of touchdown production. That is generally really fluky, but it is very encouraging to see that he has that chemistry growing with Jackson Dart. And I definitely think there's the potential for him to develop into a true tight end 1 for us. But I just want to see more volume and consistency with him before declaring that exactly. And then the final tier, I have Loveland, Fant, Okonkwo, Freiermuth, and Gunnar Helm. With Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet is out, so I think that gives him a little bit more volume. Now, the matchup is middle of the road. They definitely could choose to exploit that, but I think they're going to more so choose to exploit the man coverage through Rome Odunze. And so I think he's probably the best pass catcher to own. But I think DJ Moore is also a solid wide receiver 2 this week. So where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Let me know below in the comment section. Once again, if you would be so kind and would like to, feel free to subscribe to my Patreon. I would really appreciate the support because I do these film breakdowns. I'm unable to collect any revenue from YouTube. If you do not wish to or can't, if you could just like and subscribe, share the video, I'd be really appreciative. Leave a comment below. Anyways, thanks guys. I hope you smash your matchups this week and have a good day.